Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dracula. Ah, 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 ah. And today we're going to talk about the scary. Congratulations, you're on a furry channel. Ooh, so scary. You better post in the comments section. How did I get here? Why is the YouTube algorithm recommending me this channel? I don't know. Maybe it's because you're posting comments in my comments section. And yes, my last video got a lot of views. Unfortunately, the unfortunate situations in this world seem to get a lot more views than anything else because human beings love scary things. If somebody gets hit in the head, they get clicks. I really wish it didn't work that way, but I can't change how the audience behaves. For all I can do is post videos and talk about certain topics. So if you do not want to see my channel, please don't click the thumbs down button. Please do not comment in the comment section. All you have to do is go back into the YouTube algorithm, basically go back to thing, or click on my channel and say don't recommend videos for my channel. There's options, okay? You don't have to see this scary face. See, like a vampire, you have to invite me in, right? So if you don't want my videos, please just do it. I don't want to have you guys watching my videos. I don't want false clicks. I don't want video retentions of 1 minute on this thing. But happy Halloween, everybody. And found myself another cheap suit at the store that I like to go to. And I was like, oh man, I gotta get that one. So this is a very nice suit. I like it. So I guess the thing we're going to talk about today as a topic is sort of there is sort of a fear in the fandom that I've noticed as of late, and that is the concept of artists, right? So for furries who have actually made artistry, craftsmanship, and content creation as a staple of their livelihood, right? They are finding themselves in a very precarious situation because luxury goods and what is called consumer discretionary items, such as art and fancy clothes and fancy cars and things like that, are not doing so well because we're getting used to a higher interest rate environment again. And that higher interest rates have been going on for a while now, but as they continue to push and longer, owning debt seems to be more important than owning companies. You can, it's less risk, more reward, as long as you timed it right. Because for the scary people, it was more scary for the people at Silicon Valley Bank when they jumped into bonds too early, and all the bonds that they held became less worthful because they didn't have a lot of interest rates when they got their bonds. Complicated stuff, but in the long of the short is furries find themselves in a very precarious situation when it comes to this, and we have new attendance numbers for recent furry conventions, such as Eurofrance and Megaplex, two of the top 8 conventions, right? And those numbers, as opposed to the numbers of the conventions that I have presented earlier on in this series and earlier on in my news reviews, is actually starting to taper down. Now, to be fair to the furry conventions, the conventions in question, Eurofrance and Megaplex, both have had adversities in this past year that have prevented them, that have probably stymied or reduced the growth of their convention. Megaplex, for instance, basically banned anybody under the age of 18 from attending because of laws in Florida dealing with performance and costuming and things like that, particularly around drag shows. And it's basically called the drag show law, There's a video about it up in the cards there, and you can see it on my channel as well. But basically, the idea and the concept is that because they were actually forced to limit who could attend their convention, it did stymie their growth. In fact, I do think they still had some growth, but it was very, very, very conservative growth. And same thing with Eurofriends. The amount of growth that they could have had because they moved from Berlin out into the things, out into another city in Germany, it required them to basically stymie back. So we have Biggest Little Fur Con coming up, and once again, the convention is dealing with adversity that it used to not have to deal with when it comes to things that might impact its attendance. And that one being that because furries are not good at gambling, you know, I can understand a good casino. They want to suck your money dry. Yes, they take all of your monies. But apparently furries are not big at gambling, apparently. Apparently they want to spend their money on fursuits and fur art at a convention and not spend their money gambling. Who would have thought? And so because of that, Biggest Little Fur Con, that takes place in at the Grand Sierra in Reno, basically was only really given the opportunity to host a gathering during the weekdays, right? So they will be starting on a Monday. Biggest Little Fur Con also has a history of not loving to give out its attendance rates. So it's going to make my job a big old pain in the butt, but I assume that they're going to take a little hit on the attendance thing. Midwest Fur Fest, on the other hand, seems like people are clamoring for rooms just as they are any other year. So there's probably going to be, I don't see any negative impacts to Midwest Fur Fest coming up. But as far as business folks in the convention and who go to the conventions, who do those kind of things, it is becoming a little scary out there, right? It definitely is, the Charles Dickens effect. I've seen a recent thing where there was a $24,000 fursuit auction, right? So there's still money out there floating around to buy these fursuits and things like that. Even though they are discretionary, even though they're not a necessity, there are still folks out there who will pay a good sum to these kind of things. But usually it's the people who have already made a big name for themselves and are very well renowned, things like that. Whereas the people who are trying to get on board or get their things going, they found that a lot of issues have come up with Twitter being bought out by Elon Musk last year, and basically that platform has becoming less and less useful for artists, and as furries seem to flock at different locations such as Blue Sky and Mastodon and other social media sites, it's hard to have the universal thing on bringing in an audience that might not necessarily be furry. And even in the furry spaces, we don't have a real great place for, we have, I think we still have, Furry Network, which I think still has the commission option where you can they'll act as an intermediary. I don't know, but there's not a lot of places that you can do that. And this is the same for VR, right? It's like, how do you find a good avatar in VR? Well, you Google it, and then it's like, well, you can find the different things, and then but basically in order to implement the things, you need somebody to help you out, right? So at the end of the day, I think that furry will still move on. I think there are some people who are being a little bit more reserved, and I think that makes a lot of artists concerned. Another interesting thing that happened with artists recently that I saw on the internet was Joanne Fabrics. Apparently, I think Joanne Fabrics was declaring, Bed Bath & Beyond obviously declared bankruptcy. Joanne Fabrics sounds like they're also dealing with a lot of issues and headwinds in this market. And since it's a materials thing, which is basically where like fursuit designers and things like that get cloth and things like that from, that's going to be even harder. It's going to make making fursuits even more difficult and things like that for those who want to shop locally and not like support an Amazon or stuff like that. There are, probably going to be things in the future where furries are going to have to think about the logistics of things as our systems change and as stores that once were successful find it difficult to keep up with things, especially as debt becomes more expensive. So stores that utilize debt as a means of keeping the liquid flowing, keeping the blood flowing, as it were, they're going to find it difficult to survive in this interest-sucking world of ours, where the banks will just chomp you and suck all the value out of it. Anyways, these are just pieces of paper that I taped to my mouth. You could tell because it's like, oh, I look like a thumb. Anyways, I hope you guys have a happy Halloween. This is just a quick update thing. And if you found yourself here, unbeknownstly, hopefully you didn't comment in the comment section, because then you invited the vampire in. Oh no. I guess you'll have to reflect upon what you did. Because I certainly can't. I can't see myself in the mirror. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Have a happy Halloween. And tell me what you think of the new suit. I don't know. I like it. It very much fits with my character. I'll probably be wearing it around a bit. It was a very good deal, like the other suit that I found. So I'm glad I was like looking around. I'm like, ooh, that's a nice color. That's the color I need. Yeah. Have a good one, guys. Have a spoopy day. Spoopy. Help if I click on the card. And I didn't change it again. No! I need to do that. I'll do that after I hit stop recording. Anyways. Looks like Twitter rose from the dead. Zombie Twitter. Zombie Twitter.